Hey folks, welcome to the Rebel Live, what am I saying? The Rebel News live stream on this, a Monday, July 20th, 2026. I'm David Menzies in Toronto, and my co-host, well, let me tell you something about my co-host, shall I? Folks, do you know that today is World Jump Day? The idea is to have people all around the globe jump simultaneously. Neither I or my co-host will be participating because it's a well-known fact that white people can't jump. She is the she-devil with a sword. She is the Khaleesi of Northern Alberta. She is the sensational Sheila Gunn Reid. How you doing there, Sheila?
David, I'm doing great. Why do they want us to jump simultaneously?
Oh, this is going to make you more angry than a five-alarm fire. It is to imagine, and I'm not making this up, Sheila, it's to imagine that all the jumpers are shifting the Earth's orbit. Now, why would you want to shift the Earth's orbit? Well, it's to combat global warming.
What? I think shifting the... Oh, God. I think shifting
Sheila,
the Earth's orbit is bad. Like, I saw that movie. Bruce Willis is in it. Like, I just think this is a terrible idea. Why on earth?
It's an unworkable idea because, okay, we're all to jump simultaneously. When, where, think of the logistics. But let's just say you could shift the orbit of the Earth. Aren't you literally playing with fire? What if you shifted too much towards the sun and the global warming really kicks in? So, Sheila, even if I could jump higher than Michael Jordan in the 1980s, I ain't jumping.
Just stick this in my file of environmentalist bad ideas. Completely unworkable things. I'm actually shocked at you, David Menzies, because it is also National Get Out of the Doghouse Day.
Oh, that's where I reside, especially these days.
I was going to say, maybe you don't want it at the doghouse. Maybe you've decorated it nicely. It's a little man cave. You like your quiet time in there. Maybe you don't want out of there.
Yeah, that's for sure. That is my permanent residence these days, it would seem, Sheila. Let's put it this way. It's a dog-eat-dog world out there, and I'm wearing Milk-Bone underwear, okay?
My goodness. Okay, I'm going to tell everybody what we're doing around here because I've done some poking around on the Ontario wildfire situation.
Yes.
And I found some things from a few years ago that I want to talk about. But if you are watching us on Rumble, that's an excellent free speech platform. Listen to me. I'm rusty like David Menzies on the live stream. It's an excellent free speech platform if you want to support the work that we do around here out of the goodness of your heart and not because Mark Carney is picking your pockets. You can give it to the likes of the CBC. You can leave a Rumble rant if it's over the $5 US cutoff. We are hereby reading it on air. Chats under that, we'll do our very best, time permitting. Same rules apply over on YouTube. Their paid chat is called a super chat. If you missed the live version of the show, you can leave a paid comment called a super thanks. And of course, we ask you to do this because we'll never take a penny from the government to do the important work of holding government to account on behalf of the people. I think that's it. Let's get into the show, David.
Yeah, well, let's begin with something that everyone's talking about. It happened during the World Cup, but it had nothing to do with soccer. It
I
was
had no idea the World Cup was still on. I was talking to Lyndon, our finance guy, and he's like, "Oh, I got," because we were like doing a sign handout for albertas-choice.com across southern Alberta, and he's like, "Got to get home. I got to watch the World Cup." I'm like, "Is that damn thing still on?" I had no idea. Does anybody care?
Oh, no,
Torontonians,
it
I
is
guess.
in the bag now, Sheila. And by the way, it proved my point. You know, last month I had that little monologue, Let's Make Soccer Great Again, with 5 points of how to improve soccer. And one of them came to fruition in terms of making my point yesterday. They played 120 plus minutes. That includes extra time, which, by the way, don't confuse that, folks, with sudden death overtime. There's no such thing in soccer. They keep playing. It might get tied up again. And what was the final score, Sheila? Spain 1, Argentina 0, which is how soccer people say 0.
Fest.
Yeah, so
Newsy.
what we need is one of two things. Bigger nets to get more scoring in. And if that's too expensive to accommodate, we must relegate the goalies to midget height only. I'm for the midget, Sheila. The entertainment value alone would be off the charts. Then you would see, some 11 to 10 barn burners, but it's not going to happen with the way soccer exists right now. But anyway,
I know. I know we're wasting time. We're 10 minutes into the show, but I want to make a suggestion from the world of rugby. And as you know, there's a heavy competition between rugby players and soccer players because soccer players are a bunch of babies. Don't send me letters. But fewer people on the field. You want to see a fast-moving rugby game? Watch Rugby Sevens. High score, super fast, move super fast, really exciting, really engaging, and quick, right? That's the thing about soccer. Low scoring, too many people on the field, and takes forever and a day to finish a game. Put 7 players on the field and see what happens.
I'd have to think that over. But going back to my mono, Sheila, one of my ways to speed up things, is there anything more tedious in a soccer game than the excitement that is the throw-in from out of bounds?
Oh.
Put boards around the pitch. Could you imagine
No.
hockey or box lacrosse without boards? Could you imagine Connor McDonald having to leave the ice surface onto a patch of concrete
Again.
and throw the puck in?
I gave my editorial feedback when you were making that video, and I'm like, there's a way to make a throw-in exciting. If you've ever watched a rugby line-out, it's very exciting, but what they do in soccer, it just... Anyway... Let's get into the show. Now we're 11 minutes in and we haven't talked about any news. So we've made all the soccer fans mad, and that's okay. You can send me your complaints at Sheila@rebelnews.com.
They're always mad. Why don't we throw to a video clip of something Donald Trump was saying off the pitch that has everybody, it seems, in North America, perhaps globally, talking. I think we have a video clip. Let's hear the president in his own words.
I did. How did that go? Well, it went good, but I told him, you got to stop these fires from coming in and, poisoning our air. Our air has been poisoned. I have a good relationship with Mark Carney, but, we got to stop the fires up there. If we can help them, we'll help them. But maybe they should pay us some damages or something, or we should do some tariffs. But it was terrible. You had businesses closing. In particular, Michigan. If you look at Detroit, Michigan here, they had to close everything. They had to close car plants and a lot of other things. So I've never remembered this happening. Over the last 4 or 5 years, you saw it starting to take place. I've never remembered it happening.
Sheila, I'm going to let you lead with this because I know you've done a lot of research when it comes to forestry management and shockers, although you'll never hear this being bandied about in the Canadian mainstream media. What if Donald Trump is right? And by the way, the narrative here is, oh, come on, Trump, give us a break. Canada has nothing to do with this. It's climate change, you see. Apparently not enough people are jumping today to change the Earth's orbit. Sheila, what do you say about President Trump's comments?
He's not necessarily wrong in that proper forestry management does prevent wildfires. When you have cut blocks of old versus cut blocks of new, the natural state of the forest is to burn itself. That's how the boreal forest regenerates itself. It's how it proliferates itself, in fact. But when you have a series of parks peppering the area, and in those parks, you're not appropriately logging for a couple of different reasons, because you just want the natural state of the forest, or because you don't want to offend tourists, as was the case in Jasper, by doing some visibly destructive logging. You end up with this, because if you want the natural state of the forest, then you're going to get forest fires. So you need people to come in and log out cut blocks. It's the safest way for us as people who live up against the forest. And I do. I live where the grasslands crash into the boreal. So we have fires around here. That hasn't really been the case. Like Algonquin Park, there was a proposal for logging to take place there. Environmentalists hate it.
Yep.
I know 10 weeks ago, roughly, the Ford government said that they were going to double forestry production in Ontario. It had extreme pushback from the left, as the forestry industry has been hit hard with tariffs. So what the Ford government rightly was trying to do was to ramp this up. Now, for me, I'm looking at this and saying too little, too late. But learning from the experience in Jasper, you've got to go into these provincial parks and national parks and start logging them out. You must. Otherwise, it's just a disaster. You have to mitigate this as best you can. If we are going to live next door to the forests, we have to be good stewards. And if you're not going to let a natural burn take place, then you have to do prescribed burns and remove the fuel load from the forest. And I don't think that's been happening quite as effectively as it should have in Ontario. But with regard to the United States, like, put aside what Trump says, whatever. Put aside all of the, potential for now, I guess, for fire tariffs and smoke tariffs. As a nation, we haven't done a good job of this, right? Like, so let's just be honest with that. And how many times we have to experience this to learn. There's a reason why this stuff happens in provincially or federally managed lands. But sometimes I think the phone calls coming from inside the house with the United States. And what I mean by this is, in 2021, the California government, who buys an incredible amount of forestry products from Alberta, passed a law saying that they didn't really want forestry products from the boreal forest, which is the thing that runs across most of Canada, because they were concerned that it doesn't respect Indigenous rights, although forestry is a very Indigenous job. And they were worried about deforestation. We have the world's largest continuous forest. And if we don't log it, it will burn and hurt people, including our American friends. But California passed this law saying we don't want boreal products. Well, look, this is what happens.
Yeah, Pacific Palisades. And you're absolutely right. You must be reading my mind. I was about to point to California, Sheila. But
no, but I'm not even talking about California's failure to manage their own forests. In 2021, they were telling us, don't manage your own forests by doing logging. Ontario, we aren't going to buy your products if they're from there. Oh, audio's
incredible.
Gone down.
But isn't it amazing, just to go back to your analysis, Sheila, isn't it perversely ironic that it is the environmentalists that are to blame for this? They're saying, it's Mother Earth, don't chop down a tree, there is nothing as lovely as a tree. And then A, you get these wildfires, it's inevitable. And then B, the audacity of blaming this on climate change. And by that, Sheila, I mean, let's go back to the Jurassic era. Let's go back to the Cretaceous era. You're telling me before humanity was even on this planet, there were no wildfires? Really?
Right. I mean, again, the natural state of the forest. If you are concerned about the natural state of the forest, then you better get to love forest fires, because that's how the forest regenerates and then proliferates itself. That's how the seeds spread. But yeah, just going back to California, it was Law 416, the Deforestation Free Procurement Act, passed their Senate 30-8, which means there were 8 sensible people in the California Senate.
Well, 8 isn't enough to make reference to a 70s TV series. Why don't we see what Premier Doug Ford had to say? He got away from eating his cherry cheesecake the other day.
I don't know what he said, but I think, David, enjoy your new tariffs.
Check it out.
I got an idea. For President Trump. Why don't you get rid of the softwood lumber tariffs? Because 33% of the lumber that you use in your building, guess what? It comes from Canada. You want us to clear the forest? Well, open up the gates.
He's right.
Let's start shipping softwood lumber down there. And that would resolve a lot of the issues that we face right now. I got an idea.
You know what's funny?
He's
Sheila,
right.
The banner, it said, Doug Ford responds to Trump threats, calls politicization of fires disgusting. And what does he do? He politicizes it.
He is right, though. If you remove those softwood lumber tariffs, the logging industry would flourish in Canada, particularly in Ontario, and there would be an economic incentive for the private sector to come in and manage the forests as opposed to having the government do it. And if you have tried to use a national park in Alberta in the last couple of years, you know what happens when the federal government decides to manage the forestry industry or manage the state of the forest in a national park. So he's not wrong. Doug Ford isn't wrong. The tariffs disincentivize private sector businesses for managing the forest. It's just true.
But Sheila, in fairness, this precedes Donald Trump. I remember softwood lumber tariff issues going back to the early 80s. And here we are in 2026 and it's still an issue. What's going on?
Well, of course. But, if this tariff issue, I mean, it's ongoing. It's not necessarily Donald Trump, but free trade in forestry makes for a safer forest. I think that's the moral of the story.
Okay, then. And naturally, the Prime Minister, Mark Carney, who Trump said he's got a good relationship with. You could have fooled me about that one. He said something on X. He said, quote, "This morning I met with federal workers in Ottawa who are supporting the wildfire response efforts in
He met with bureaucrats.
in northwestern Ontario and across the country. This is one of the most intense wildfire seasons in Canadian history due to, here we come, extreme heat waves and record-breaking dry conditions." I think that's code speak for climate change, but I'm editorializing here, Sheila. Canada is mobilizing. Odd that he spells mobilizing the British way with an S
Always
instead of a Z.
does.
I wonder why that is. Canada is mobilizing more than 5,000 firefighters and nearly 300 water bombers, helicopters, and evacuation aircraft to contain, control, and mitigate the fires. It's an enormous, complex effort that ultimately depends on dedicated and brave individuals who work relentlessly to keep everyone safe, end quote. Well, thankfully this wasn't Trudeau writing that, because he would have said fire persons or something like that. But Sheila, what do you make of his response versus what you said, that a lot of these wildfires were preventable if you engaged in proper forestry management?
No, it's climate change. You can tell. You can tell by the well-dressed bureaucrats in this photo that climate change is up to no good again. I look at this and I'm like, why don't you go to one of the staging areas where the firefighters are? Why don't you go to one of those places and show the people working hard to save communities, to stop the spread of the wildfire? Like a typical Laurentian elite, he goes to talk to the bureaucrats who are watching radar monitors.
You wait a minute, Sheila. You think Carney is going to put himself in any kind of danger?
He wouldn't even be in danger. Premier Smith went to visit the firefighter staging areas. I went to see them in Hinton. It's a safe distance from the fire, but at least he would be actually seeing what's happening on the ground. Instead, we get this thoughtful analysis of the radar screens when it's clear he doesn't understand anything before him, but he's like, yes, I see what's happening here.
No, Sheila, you misunderstand me. When I say getting close to danger, I mean Mark Carney leaving the confines of a building without central air conditioning.
Right. Seeing people who actually do things with their back in their hands, yeah, that'd be terrible for him.
I love that pose, like the thinker.
I can tell he really gets it.
More like this is the thought. Is anyone buying this? Right?
It would be more realistic if he did this, like the Dr. Evil one.
Yeah.
Instead of that one.
Would you like to see what Doug Ford said on CNN today, Sheila?
Not really, but this is my job, so let's do it.
Okay.
I just find it very frustrating that President Trump wouldn't say, here, we have assets, we'll bring them up there. Because I can reassure the American people, when you have any natural disasters, we will be there within seconds of a phone call. And we love our American neighbors. We're going to be there to support them. But it's unfortunate, the president has to politicize it. I just find it very frustrating.
Well, I love how CNN showed the Pemberton fire instead of one in Ontario on the screen. Like they're showing BC on the other side of the country versus, and they have Doug Ford on there talking.
That's a good catch, Sheila. Why did they do that?
I have no idea, because Canada is just a place of ice and igloos, so they think there's only one forest, apparently, on the news network of note in the United States.
Well, you know what? I mean, that's the thing with Canadian-U.S. relations, and I love our American cousins, but, I remember the maps, going back to elementary school back in the day, Sheila, and you would see the U.S. states. They were all multicolored and named, and they'd have the major cities, and then you would have Canada, one big pink blob, not even provincial boundaries. So I guess when they say smoke coming from Canada, it doesn't matter if it's Pemberton or northwestern Ontario.
Yeah, it's all the same to them, especially on CNN. The background noise in airports and doctors' offices.
Yeah, really. Why doesn't Ford ever get on Fox News, to the best of my recollection?
Right. And that's the thing. Premier Smith always goes on Fox News.
Yeah.
If you want to talk to the Republicans, that's where you go. But he's not. He doesn't want to talk to the Republicans. He wants to talk to the Democrats who hate the Republicans.
And we have one more Premier Ford clip from Friday, Sheila. Keep your ears peeled as to how he refers to the President of the United States. And maybe that's why we're in the trade dilemma we are. Check it out.
I just say faster, quicker, immediate on everything. That's my new slogan. We're in an economic war with the guy south of the border. We got to move. No matter if it's infrastructure or hospitals or our nuclear capabilities or critical minerals. Folks, we have everything. We have everything. You got to get government moving. Government drives me crazy, by the way. They do. You got to get move.
Yeah, Sheila, I don't think it's class for a premier to call the president the guy south of the border. And when it comes to government moving, I remember going back to 2018, Doug Ford's first election campaign to become premier, which he was successful, of course. And, to his words about we've got everything, he was talking about the ring of fire, that, bounty of precious earth minerals in northern Ontario being developed. I think they're still working on a road to the ring of fire, right?
Yeah. And it's funny because logging roads are infrastructure, existing infrastructure that could be used for those sorts of things, if we were more aggressive in our logging strategy. But yeah, Doug, the guy to the south of us, it's not helpful. You know what? You do need American help. Maybe quit bashing them and they'll send it.
Right. But that is the national sport in Canada, it would seem, with too many people bash Trump, and which leads us to a video clip from yesterday entitled "Vancouver Crowd Reacts to the Camera Panning to Trump During the FIFA World Cup Final."
Good grief.
Golly, Sheila, how do you think a Vancouver crowd will react? Here, check it out.
Anyway, if you need a water bomb or help with your Pemberton fire, this isn't how you get it.
No,
Isn't it?
and you know, holy contortionist. I mean, I think it's. I'm just doing the logistics right now. How do you do a thumbs down with elbows up? It kind of hurts me when I do.
Yeah. This is why we want to leave. I see that and I'm like, that's why we want to leave. I don't want to fight with the Americans. But on the flip side, just going back to the fires, imagine the reaction in the lower mainland of BC if there was a fire in upstate Washington that was polluting the air in BC. It would be Trump doesn't believe in climate change.
Yep.
And so it would be just vicious elbows up nonsense.
100%. And, well, to continue with the politicization of the World Cup, here is something, well, Sheila, I found this gross to watch. It is the mob getting incensed for no good reason. There was a World Cup party at so-called Celebration Square in Mississauga, Ontario, and it got horribly violent when a man had the temerity to wave a Jerusalem flag. And, well, let's just see how the crowd reacted to that.
This is his 50th game in charge. He still has not lost a game at all in major tournament through 15 games. Luis de la Fuente. The Royal family is still legacy in Scotland. World Cup trophy for a second time. European champions and world champions as they can. Argentina has done 4 consecutive major tournaments. Absolutely think to be denying Argentina or one of the Slavic one. They've totally outclassed them in doing that as well, and they have youth on their side. They've still got years in this team as well. It's not like a team coming to the end of a reign, and they're special to watch. As I said before, the control of games is never really seen before. I have to say, the control to prevent them.
He's going to hit him with a lawn chair?
Looks like he's getting ready to. You know, Sheila, there are a couple things here. First of all, look at the size of that gathering. I do not, and by the way, that clip is courtesy of our friends at Leviathan. I look at the size of that crowd. Where is there a single police officer? I mean,
that was exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah.
There is no security there. There's not a police officer there. This beatdown.
Yeah.
And it could have been a hell of a lot worse, actually, given the size of that crowd. It could have been a lot worse. Where's the security? Where?
100%. Also, Sheila, I am telling you that had the roles been reversed, if this was somebody, say, waving the flag of Palestine or the flag of Hamas, if you will, and they were given a right royal beating. In fact, I think I just got a glimpse of a Palestine flag. I'll keep my eyes peeled for that. Is there one in the back, which is kind of interesting because they weren't in the World Cup as far as I could tell. I think that would lead the news today in the mainstream media.
For sure. I just can't believe the lack of security at this event. Like,
it's
this
amazing.
could have been terribly, terribly worse.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just trying to see if I can see that, or if my eyes were playing tricks on me. But
Oh, no doubt there's one there. What is this? In the Peel region? For sure there's 10 in that crowd.
yeah, you
Yeah.
know. But so I want to, in the days ahead, Sheila, now that we have video evidence, and you can clearly see some of the faces of the goons, is Peel Police going to do anything about this? Or is it going to be, well, boys will be boys, you know?
Is that a rhetorical question?
Now, a headline from Le Journal de Montreal, which is really a hard left paper.
Oh, it's bad.
They're kooks there. Anyways, I have to agree with them on this. The Carney government spends $4 million on patriotic advertisements during the World Cup. Sheila, that's what Lady Manzoid and it was kind of like the World Cup final. It's almost like the Super Bowl. Even if you're not a soccer fan, a football fan, it's kind of almost a cultural event to watch the Super Bowl or the World Cup final just to see what's going on. And the number of federal government ads and, in this market, Government of Ontario ads was revolting. The government spending millions to tell you
4 million
with your own money what a great job they are doing. I think this should be outlawed, Sheila, or if the government is going to do it, whichever the sitting party is, in this case, the Liberal Party of Canada, provincially, the Progressive Conservative Party of Ontario, it comes out of party funds, because this is basically campaigning on your dime, and it's gross, and it should not be tolerated.
Right. And of course, as the Journal de Montreal frames it, they say, you know, like, how dare they talk about their clean green efforts, which are neither clean nor green, but also take enormous subsidies, while also preparing a pipeline, which apparently is bad. And I actually don't like this new pipe. I'm pro pipeline, but somehow I don't like this pipeline because it is using public money to do a job that used to be done in the private sector. But anyways, they're ranting. They say that it's hypocritical for the government to be spending money touting their climate agenda while also spending money to build a pipeline, which will, of course, never get built anyway. So you can settle down, Journal de Montreal.
But
it's not happening anyway.
But this is where their kookiness comes into play, Sheila. They're missing the lead. Forget about the green so-called element at play. It's the use of your tax dollars.
Absolutely. This is North Korea level stuff.
But that's not, they don't necessarily have a problem with that.
No, they would have no problem spending $4 million to push the success of the climate plan if there weren't a pipeline looming in the background, haunting the place, as they actually said in another headline. They don't have a problem with the dollars spent, which a normal person should have a problem with, this North Korean style / Maoist presentation of the federal government on major sports events using our money to do it.
Unbelievable. Well, Sheila, we're at the halfway mark. We got to take a quick ad break, and we will see you all on the other side, folks.
Hi, I'm Sheila Gunn Reid. My best-selling paperback launched a few months ago. Now the ebook version is finally here. Independence Blueprint: What Alberta Can Learn from Quebec is officially available for download. Before Quebec's 1995 referendum, Quebecers didn't just argue emotionally about separation. They asked practical questions about what came next. What happens to pensions, currency, trade with the rest of Canada, borders, citizenship, Indigenous relations, debt sharing, and even international recognition. And unlike what we're currently seeing in Alberta, Quebec actually created commissions, held hearings, heard expert testimony, and worked through those questions completely in public. That's what this book is about. Independence Blueprint digs into the serious groundwork Quebec did before its referendum and explores what Alberta can learn from that process today, whether you support independence, greater autonomy, or simply want to understand where this conversation is headed. Because if Alberta is going to have this debate, and we are, it should be an informed one, not just whatever panic-driven talking points the CBC throws together to terrorize you over the dinner hour. Download the ebook today at independenceblueprint.com.
For generations, many Canadians have preserved more than just firearms.
Many of our men and women
They've
clad in
preserved
uniform.
history, tradition, competition, memories. But under Trudeau, and now Carney, heirlooms, estates, collectibles, and competition firearms now have to be surrendered and destroyed. While violent gun criminals get pass after pass, openly ignoring any legislation, lawful gun owners are trapped in an increasingly unfair legal system. But we can help. Canada's National Firearms Association's Save Firearms program offers the legal pathway to preserve what matters, while we work towards a political solution. Don't let yours be next. Save history. Save heritage. Save firearms. Visit nfa.ca today to learn more.
In Canada, firearms owners like me understand the importance of safe, effective self-defense options. That's why we're proud to have Byrna as a sponsor. Byrna's less lethal launchers are designed to help protect you and your family without taking a life. Byrna offers peace of mind, accessibility, and a practical layer of personal security for Canadians who value safety. Learn more at byrna.ca/rebel. That's byrna.ca/rebel.
Canada's been told to just quit smoking for decades, same message over and over, and yet millions of Canadians still smoke. So let's ask a follow-up question. For those who don't quit, what about change? In 2026, Canada has options that didn't exist years ago. Smoke-free alternatives for adults who would otherwise continue smoking. That doesn't mean risk-free, it means informed choice. If you don't smoke, don't start. If you smoke, quit. But for those who don't quit, change could still be part of the conversation. That's why Canadians should check out unsmoke.ca, an information resource focused on smoke-free alternatives and honest facts, not judgment. Put the lighter down, Canada. Learn what your options are.
Hey folks, do you love a good cup of coffee? Are you, like me, banned for life from visiting Tim Hortons? Well,
No,
I
we're
have
not. No, not everybody is.
Not everybody.
Just you and me.
But I am. Folks, I have great news. Check it out. This is Rebel News Special Edition Coffee. Rebel News and Resistance Coffee have partnered to bring you something special to wake up to. Resistance Coffee is a family-run Canadian coffee company, unlike Tim Hortons, by the way. And while the big chains wrap themselves in the flag and turn their backs on Canadian workers, Resistance Coffee has been doing the real thing all along. Exceptional coffee roasted right here in Canada by people who actually believe in this country. This is our strong and free roast in a special Rebel News edition, available only at, on this page rather. Efren, is it rebelnewscoffee.ca? Rebelcoffee.ca. Sorry about that, folks. So, a 5-pound bag and bundles qualify for a $9.99 flat rate shipping nationwide. It is worth every penny. Folks, this is great coffee. And Sheila, let me go off on a tangerine here, because we were experimenting at the office, and sometimes the batch was good and sometimes it wasn't so good. And I made mention to everybody, once upon a time back in the early 90s, I was interviewing I think it was the vice president of Country Style Donuts, which at one time in Ontario, folks, was bigger than Tim Hortons. It was sure better. So it just shows you what can happen, I guess, on the marketing front. Anyways, I asked him, I love your coffee. I buy your coffee to brew at home, and it's not the same as what I buy. Do you sell at the store a different blend than what you use in the restaurants. And he said, Dave, we get this question all the time, and I'm going to tell you what the issue is. The most important thing about brewing coffee is, if you will, the point of conception. In other words, the water has to be super hot. And when you buy those cheap coffee makers, at a big box store, it's not going to get the water hot enough. You need to get a food service grade coffee maker. So we shelled out, it was like $300+ for a Bunomatic, and bang, it was all the different, Sheila. So I'm telling our audience, if you want the best cup of coffee imaginable, because let's face it, life is too short for bad coffee, is it not? Get a food service coffee maker. It will outlive you likely, and you will never have a bad cup of coffee. There you go. And this is the coffee to brew. Rebel News.
I'm more of a bulk coffee drinker. You know what I mean? So I'm more quantity over quality most days. As you know, I wake up very early, like 4:45, 5 o'clock in the morning to start work. So whatever I can get into me to get my brain going is what matters. But I am choosy in my coffee brands, in that I try to choose ones that don't abuse Canadian youth.
Well, yes, that's right. And like I said, if people thought I was joking, Tim Hortons not being a Canadian company anymore. It's a Brazilian hedge fund running that joint, along with Popeye's Chicken, Burger King, and Firehouse Subs. So I'm just telling you that, folks, so you know who to boycott if you stand in solidarity with me.
Tim'sBoycott.com, by the way. If you're so inclined. Let's see how much we can get through, because I want to talk about this weekend and what we got up to, but that's later on in the show.
Okay.
Got this headline from Global News. Chinese EV issue part of U.S. trade talks, Mexico Foreign Secretary says. It's funny how we had to find this out from Mexico. That Canada bringing in Chinese EVs is a bit of a monkey wrench in the gears of the USMCA negotiations.
This is remarkable because there is an auto industry, of course, in Mexico, Sheila. And I think it was just a week ago I came across a headline of Toyota moving the Tacoma production from a Mexican plant into the U.S., obviously tariff related. But I don't understand how Mexico is getting on board. Certainly, Prime Minister Carney said getting Chinese EVs into this province, Ontario, is going to bolster the Ontario auto industry. Sheila, how?
How?
There's not going to be any plants in Ontario making these Chinese EVs. It's all imports. And even if there were a plant being made here to make Chinese EVs, Sheila, 80 to 90% of what's produced in Canada, automotive-wise, goes south to the United States. You can't send these to the United States.
No.
You can't even drive one over the Peace Bridge, should you happen to have one. So I'm asking you, Khaleesi, educate this bear of little brain. How does importing a Chinese EV into Ontario bolster the Ontario automotive sector rather than being a factor in terms of its demise?
Right. It doesn't make any sense, except insofar as Carney is trying to normalize relations with a hostile foreign entity, i.e. China, and irritate the Americans at the same time. So if that's your goal, well, you're doing a bang-up job. But 49,000 of these Chinese EVs are supposed to come into the country. And it has become a real sticking point in the USMCA negotiations with the Americans. Trump is threatening new tariffs, saying he won't allow Canada to become a drop-off port for Chinese vehicles to enter into the United States. There are all kinds of potential security issues with these things. In fact, some Eastern European countries, like Poland, they don't even want these things anywhere near a military base. They're very concerned about them.
But forget about what the White House says, Sheila. What does Unifor have to say about this? These things are potentially going to eat their union workers' lunches because for every Chinese EV sold, that's potentially, a GM, a Chrysler, a Lexus, a Honda, a Toyota not sold here in Ontario.
Right. You want me to get inside the heads of the Maoists and the Unifor upper brass?
So let's then, why does Mexico seem so muted about this? Is it just in the hopes of we'll take a little Chinese EV pain if it contributes to a better trade deal overall with the U.S.?
I don't know. I think it might have to do with the general income of Mexicans. These things that are coming into Canada are much cheaper than the ones manufactured here. Likewise, they're probably much cheaper than the ones manufactured in Mexico. People will buy them, I guess, when you have a lower income.
Sheila, would you buy one?
Would I buy an electric vehicle no matter where it was made?
No. Let's just say you bumped your head and you're into buying an EV. Would you consider a Chinese EV, even if you were getting, say, a 30% discount?
No, thanks.
Me neither.
I have enough electronics that spy on me every day. I don't need another one. I like to be alone in my vehicle. I don't need the CCP watching me from behind a screen in my vehicle overspend at Costco. No thanks.
Wow. But you're right. I think there is a demographic out there. Maybe it's out of financial necessity. They simply can't afford anything else. So they'll put their principles on a shelf, hold their nose, and buy a Chinese EV. But you know what?
Yeah.
Good luck going across the border to Buffalo. You ain't getting there unless, I guess, inevitably there'll be regime change in the U.S. But they want nothing to do with these things. And folks, like Sheila said, you want a spy device on wheels? Get a Chinese EV.
Wait till you run out of social credits. Then you're just stopped on the side of the highway.
Could be coming soon. Speaking of economics, here's a headline from the National Post, Sheila. Canadians are fed up of paying more to receive less. Majority think the government spends too much, according to a poll. Indeed, 70% of Canadians say high taxes are reducing living standards. Most think subsidies not worth the cost. Sheila, I don't argue with those stats. So why do polls also show that the Mark Carney Liberals are still trending positively?
Yeah, you're fed up with paying more to receive less, and they think the government spends too much. Who do you think the government is?
Yeah.
Who do you think? If you're so dissatisfied with them, quit voting for them. They've been around for 11 years doing the exact same thing, getting worse and worse and worse. You're taking home less and less and less. Why can't Canadians in some part of this country make the connection? I was reading down in this, and I want to know who the other, I guess 37% of people are.
Well-off retired boomers, maybe?
Oh, I was going to say, the elbows up, or rather the fingers up boomer that became the meme of the last election. In addition, 63% of all respondents feel they pay too much income tax, though this is down from a peak of 72% in 2024, and 66% believe that subsidies are not worth the cost of taxes. Who are the other 37% that feel that they pay just enough tax or maybe too little? Where are you people?
Sheila, when I go out in the field and I have the misfortune of dealing with baby boomer Carney supporters, and you bring up the, where's that trade deal? I thought that was the central piece of his election platform last year, getting that trade deal with the U.S., that he's the adult in the room, the financier, a big businessman, et cetera, et cetera. And the stand pat answer, Sheila, is, well, what do you want him to do? Look who he's dealing with, Trump. He's unpredictable. He's unhinged, blah, 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 blah. Sheila, playing that card is bogus, and I'll tell you why. We know what Donald Trump is like. We saw him in his first term, 2016 to 2020. So you can't say how could we possibly know Donald Trump would be like this? Because we saw Trump version 1.0. So I don't accept that excuse. It's, simply due to Trump derangement syndrome.
Completely. Like, I don't know why anybody is ever surprised by the things Trump does. Basically, his foreign policy is, does he like you? Okay, then you're going to be fine. Are you fighting with him? Then you're not going to be fine. Are you trying to work with him? You're going to be fine. But the Canadians have learned nothing from any of this. Thankfully, my premier in Alberta decided we're not fighting with him. We're going to go talk to him. We're going to go on podcasts where we can speak directly to Americans, particularly Republicans. We're going to go on Fox News. We're going to go on Newsmax. We're going to go where the Republicans are, and we're going to make our case as friends to them.
Yeah.
And we got a 10% tariff. That was it.
And Sheila, I just want to say, too, in case anyone thinks I'm being harsh on the boomers, I am a boomer. I'm one of those people that were born between 1945 and 1964. So I can't explain.
I know. And I anytime I mention the boomers, I get an influx of people saying, I didn't vote for Mark Carney, Sheila, you should badmouth the boomers. I'm not talking about you.
Yeah.
If you didn't vote for Mark Carney, then you're not a liberal voting boomer. But we all have to admit that there is something very wrong with that cohort, in the same way that I admit that there's something wrong with the 40-something white women in this country. They're voting the wrong way too. And I don't take offense when someone points that out. I realize that I'm the exception, not the rule, and that's okay. Don't take offense if I'm not talking about you. Stop it.
100%. Now, here's another headline from the National Post, and this is right in your wheelhouse, Sheila. So I'll just read the headline, and then I'll sick you on it. Poilievre appoints Edmonton MP to lead party's pro-unity campaign ahead of Alberta separatism referendum. Quote, our task is not to scold Albertans, it is to hear them, end quote, Poilievre wrote to Parkland MP Dane Lloyd in a letter confirming the position. Sheila, I look at this as almost like 3D chess, and it's rife with danger, I would argue. What do you make of it?
It is true that, a substantial portion of the federal Conservative membership in Alberta supports Western independence. So this is kind of a dangerous game. But no one should be surprised by this, right? You shouldn't be surprised that the Federalist Conservative Party has appointed someone to be the lead in the Federalist voice of the Conservative Party. Don't be surprised by this. Don't take offense to this. This is just what they're going to do. My advice to my independence-minded friends, just ignore it. Dane is a good dude. He's a good guy. Dane Lloyd's a good guy. He's a veteran. He's very tough on the Carney Liberals. He's supportive of pipelines. He's supportive of gun rights. He worked really hard on the Jasper wildfire file in committee. He's not a bad guy. He just has a different viewpoint than you. And let us not be like the Forever Canada lunatics that will come across the street or across the parking lot, as they did over the weekend in Lethbridge, and get all finger pointy with a nice little old lady. We're not going to be like that. This is a fellow traveler in the Conservative movement who has a different viewpoint than us. Let's just be cool about it. But it doesn't surprise me that a Federalist Party has decided to take a Federalist stance. Don't be shocked by this, but my advice, ignore it.
And Sheila, we can't discuss this issue, I don't think, without the elephant in the room, and that being, let's just say Alberta in the future does become an independent nation.
Yep.
If that were the case, would it ever be possible for the Conservative Party in Canada to form a majority government again?
No, and I've been saying that from the very beginning, before even signatures started being collected, that one of the strongest voices against Alberta leaving would be our friends in the Conservative Party of Canada because they will never form government again. They will never be able to out fundraise the Liberals again. So naturally, it's self-preservation for that party to come out on the Federalist side. But we don't need to make enemies of our friends to be on different sides of one issue.
All right, then. Let's switch gears, and we got a video clip of Grand Chief Garrison Sete. I hope I pronounced that name correctly. I find his comments to be downright disturbing, Sheila, especially in the realm of cancel culture in which we live. It's regarding Kamloops. Let's hear the chief in his own words.
Briefly, concisely, we're asked if it's possible to exhume graves all over this nation. 133 residential schools. At least 100,000 of our people were in these residential schools. Thousands of them did not make it home. No account of what happened to them, no account of how they died, and no account of where they were laid to rest.
That's not true.
And I don't think we should have to prove to anybody what happened to these people because they are there. And they send us messages telling us they're there.
What?
And Chief Kashmir and I went to visit the sacred site. You can tell they're there, right? Feel the power and the energy. For somebody that's not from our communities, that doesn't understand our culture, you cannot understand what that means. But we do. And you just don't go into any cemetery and start digging up graves just to prove that someone died. It is disrespectful to our culture.
Okay, I've got a lot to say there. First of all, you are accusing someone of a genocide. Actually, you're accusing millions of people of a genocide. You're accusing the Catholic Church of a genocide. You do have an obligation to prove that. Someone has yet to come up with one single name of a missing child, by the way. There's not a single name out there. The majority of these kids, we know how they died. We know where they are. Largely, these are unmarked cemeteries. And for him to say that these are sacred sites, so they cannot be excavated, cemeteries are also sacred sites. And people are routinely exhumed to prove a crime all the time. It's not considered desecration. It's called an investigation. And when he says, they come to us, they speak to us. Look, I'm not discounting that. I'm Catholic. I obviously believe in the supernatural. The world is supernatural around us. But in that, you cannot go around accusing people of crimes. The worst kind of crime, by the way. And not allowing people to either prove or disprove their innocence. And if you think that there's a genocide going on, you can't just expect us to take your word for it. Give me one name, just one name of a child that's missing, that didn't come home, that we don't know what happened to them. Just one name.
Oh, Sheila, forget about names. Show me one shred of forensic evidence that this is a mass burial site. When he says, I don't think we should have to prove to anybody what happened to these dead children in Kamloops, well, why wouldn't you want to prove that? Doesn't that bolster your case, right? I mean, if you are maintaining this narrative, you would point to the evidence. And I'm sorry, him saying that me and the other chief, we went there and we felt the power and the energy. You know what? Try using that argument in a court of law,
I was just going to say.
Judge, I have no evidence. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. If I walked into a court or anywhere and said, somebody came to me in a dream and said that they were murdered.
Yeah.
And what would be the immediate response? Do you have a name? Do you have a location? Let's go check it out. even if you took my dream seriously, you would say, let's get a shovel. Let's go check it out. We're not even doing that. We're like, yep, definitely. I believe your dream. Here's a bunch of money.
And I'm so sorry, with all due respect, I'm calling BS. The reason why you don't want that site excavated is because it's a nothing burger. You are not going to find hundreds of little corpses there. I fully believe that, Sheila.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, at this point, I think everybody involved knows that. I'm not one to say like the UN is good at anything, but because they're not good at stopping a genocide.
Yeah.
Rwanda. But they are really good at investigating the genocide. They fail to stop after the fact. You know what? If you think that the Canadian officials are not fully capable of dealing with a genocide, investigating a genocide, all these lefty types seem to love the United Nations. Bring them in. They can investigate. I want to know what's going on in that ground.
And Sheila, it's no longer a matter of we can agree to disagree, because there is a movement that is trying to make, genocide denial illegal.
No, not genocide denial. I believe genocides are real. I mean, I visited northern Iraq.
Yeah.
But there was evidence of genocide there. What they're trying to make illegal is questioning what happened at residential schools. And I believe what happened at residential schools is very nuanced. Good and bad things happened at residential schools. And there is an accepted narrative that people are allowed to question in a free country, especially when there's no proof to the contrary.
100%. And I mean, and that's what you want. You know, we've been to Yad Vashem in Jerusalem, the museum about the genocide of the Jewish people in the Second World War. And, you know, we had that behind the scenes tour. And I remember one of the curators saying how important it was to get their facts right. And
document everything.
Absolutely. And originally, when they were going through all the records, they came up to a number, it was approaching 18 million, and which would exceed actually the Jewish population in Europe at the time. So what they did, knowing that they have to get this right, they have to make it bulletproof, they did further analysis, and they found out sometimes they were counting the same person 1, 2, 3, 4 times over, and it was whittled down to 6 million, which would be the valid number. But this is the opposite here. We know we just feel it's right, so there's no need to dig. It's not acceptable to me, Sheila.
I'm going to spend my afternoon, David, accusing you of crimes that came to me in a dream.
Yeah.
I'll see you at HR. Let's, I know we got to wrap it up. Olivia Efron, I don't know how much time we have left, but we should show this video of our friends at Canadian Women's Sex-Based Rights, because they rented the Rebel truck and they were out on the streets.
Oh, yes. I'd like to see
World
this.
Cup. Let's show this.
People are streaming from Union Station, and as they walk along, they're gonna come upon something kind of interesting here. Let's take a look. It's exciting. It's an exciting day. Oh, look, there's a video truck. What could we have here? Wow. People handing out postcards. Oh, look who's here handing out postcards. What do you have to say, Maureen?
Safety for girls and fairness in women's sports.
Yes. And look at this. This is our beautiful billboard truck. We've got tons of people streaming by. We've had a really good reaction so far to our message to save women's sports. Let's get males out of female sports. We want safety and dignity and fairness for female athletes. So we're here for the Blue Jays game for these fans. And we're going to be heading over to the FIFA Fan Festival, or as close as we can. It's the end of the final cup today. Here we are. Oh, where are we? We're in front of, guess what? CBC. Hello, CBC. It's not a work day, but still, it feels good to be putting this message on right in front of their offices in Toronto. So here we are. Lots
Okay,
of
I
people
think
coming
that's good.
through.
They had the ladies from Canadian Women's Sex-Based Rights. They had a good time with the truck. They had it down at the Blue Jays game. They took it to the CBC. Then they took it over to where the FIFA game was being played. And they really enjoyed the traffic snarl that the truck was stuck in because more people saw it. So I just think that's what a wonderful group to have rented the Rebel News billboard truck.
Well, you know, what I love about that video, Sheila, it's just the truck's just down the road from Skydome. I refuse to call it the Rogers Center. But it's across the street on Front Street from CBC headquarters, this Taj Mahal built with your money, folks. And wouldn't you think a reporter, since we literally brought the news to them, would wander out and go, hey, what's this about? And ask some questions and maybe do a quick
No,
hit?
that's journalism. Stop.
Oh, no. Well, A, you know, it was kind of humid and it's a Sunday. And B, I bet you, Sheila, the people at CBC don't agree with the message on that truck, i.e., trans woman or real woman is their mantra. And how do we define what a woman is? So that's why there's no interest from across the street.
No, you can bring the news right to CBC, quite literally on their doorstep, and they won't come out, as was the case with the Freedom Convoy. If it was hot and humid, you don't want to see makeup sliding off the face of Rosie Barton anyway. Well, I don't think she's in Toronto. I think she's in Ottawa.
I think so too. But you know, but I got one last thing on that. I'm not sure going to a Blue Jay game with that message is, you know, the best place in Toronto, Sheila. That is a pretty woke crowd.
No, that's where this needs to be.
Oh, okay. I stand corrected.
You're out there to convert people, not talk to the converted.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's typical Toronto traffic.
Yeah. Stop and go for the car sick people in your life like me. Nothing makes me sicker than Toronto traffic. I don't know how many Ubers I've almost puked in.
Actually, I spoke too soon. That's pretty good.
Oh,
I'm
God,
surprised. Oh, okay. We caught up with the gridlock.
Even watching this makes me car sick. We've got one more thing, and then we'll go to the Globe and Mail bureau chief accidentally telling the truth. So over the weekend, I drove down on Friday just because of the distance of the drive, and then we spent all day in the blazing southern Alberta heat. Like at one point, it was 37, 38 degrees outside. We don't get that up here in my neck of the woods, but in Medicine Hat, you sure do. We were delivering lawn signs for my third-party advertiser group, Alberta's Choice. So that's albertas-choice.com. We gave away roughly 500 lawn signs. We started in Okotoks, then we went to Lethbridge, then we went to Medicine Hat. And when we were in Okotoks, there was a road construction crew right beside us. And I don't know if you can see in the back of this guy's loader, but wait till he goes by. He sort of waves at me. He's got my lawn signs in the back of his loader.
Two
of them. And then it was like a steady stream of guys on their break coming over to get their lawn signs from the road crew.
God bless him.
Yeah, it was great. So anyway, so a very busy day, met lots of people, raised lots of money for the TPA that'll keep us back out on the streets, delivering more lawn signs, painting the province blue. And to all of you who came out to support us, to grab your lawn sign, we just appreciate you so much. You made the day a very long, hot day, tolerable and even, dare I say, fun. So thanks for that.
And Sheila, I'm so sorry, but don't you dare complain about the humidex in the province of Alberta.
Oh, I didn't. I wasn't. It was dry as hell.
In mere weeks, it'll be the wind chill factor as part of the weather forecast. You know it, I know it.
That's no humidex. That's just straight, like prairie, dry
heat,
hot.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's like a blast furnace out there, but not up here. Like today's 19 degrees and I got a space heater on in my office. So Southern Alberta is enjoying, it's whatever. It's raining again as it is in the north. So Yeah, but anyways, if people want to get a lawn sign, go to albertas-choice.com and stay tuned for more pickups. I'm completely out of lawn signs, save for but a dozen, maybe 2 dozen. No, I don't even have 2 dozen, but those are already spoken for. So anyways, just keep checking back at that website, and I'll make sure that there are more lawn signs to come.
Sheila, aren't you somewhere today?
Yeah, but that's a targeted drop off. That's why I say those, like, not even 2 dozen lawn signs, they're spoken for. They're spoken for. You know what? If you're in the Toefield area, message me on X. I might have 1 or 2 available for you.
All right, then. And before we get to the cringe of the day, which is apparently Xavier Trudeau rebranding himself, do we have any super chats, Sheila?
One more thing before we move on. I know we're way over time, but we always start late, so I don't mind giving people the extra time. And I'm avoiding filming a video that I don't want to do for no particular reason. It's not like it's a difficult video. I just put it on the back burner. I don't want to get back to it. I think this is Bob Fife. This, I can tell by his gnarled old face that I think this is Bob Fife. Globe and Mail bureau chief admits that the media is biased against conservatives, and this is from Canada Proud. Yeah, we know. Thanks, Bob. We know. Good journalism.
And so you may be right in the sense that there's an unfair bias against the Conservatives in Ottawa. I think that's probably true, and it's always been the case, generally speaking. And so you may
Bob
be
a Pulitzer for that. Thanks, Bob. We know. But at least it's good to see the Globe and Mail actually admitting this. This was on a podcast with Chief Aaron Pete, who sort of talks to people from both sides of the spectrum in an honest way, sort of engages them both ways. But yeah, thanks, Bob.
You know what, Sheila? I want to thank him too, because this is a major step forward. The mainstream media has always, we were talking about denialism earlier on in terms of Kamloops. They've always denied bias. Him saying that's a major step forward in terms of, I don't know, this version of truth and reconciliation.
Yeah. Now, if they could just stop that, or stop taking the government money. Actually, I don't expect them to stop having their own... No, I know. But I actually don't expect anyone to stop having their personal opinions. I don't. Have them. Put them in your journalism. I don't care. I do the same thing. I don't want to pay for it. That's my only problem with all of this, is I'm tired of paying for it.
You know, Sheila, I wonder what the mainstream media would look like without the government subsidies. I mean, 'twas ever thus CBC was getting over $1 billion annually, but now everybody's getting money, and still you see CTV laying off people. Last week, Rogers shut down a whole slew of AM radio stations in Canada, and well, I guess AM radio, that's maybe, I mean, I still listen to it, but maybe that's the problem. Find somebody under 30 that tunes into AM radio, that's a needle in a haystack. But the point is, they're all subsidized. Imagine the layoffs and the closures of outlets if those subsidies weren't around.
Yeah, imagine just like a Clint Eastwood scene, just me in a serape and a cowboy hat and a cigar hanging out of my mouth, rolling into a ghost town, tumbleweeds rolling through. That's what the media landscape would look like without government money. Oh. None of them would survive. It's my dream.
Unbelievable.
All right, I'm going to breeze through some of these chats, and then we'll get into what Justin Trudeau's cringeworthy kid is up to these days. I don't like to pick on the kids of politicians, but this one's really leaning hard into I'm Trudeau's kid. I Grocket gives us $10 and says, for the beautiful people, you decide amongst yourself which one of you gets the money and how much. Also, we need Lisa's infectious laughter again. She'll be back tomorrow. She's back. Yeah, good. She's back. She was off gallivanting Western Canada with her kids. I know that even she was working this weekend on a story. So P. Schofield 10 gives us $5. CNN could not find its butt with 2 hands in a map. Little wonder they cannot tell one Canadian fire from another. Like on 2 different sides of the country at that. But anyway. We've got Gemma Duarte, 9584. God, I should really read use my glasses. Welcome. She's become a partial premium member. Well,
thank you.
Glad to have you, Gemma. Alex Greer 7700 gives us 149 and a pie emoji. I believe that's for Doug Ford. And our friend Sasquatch Chronicles, the Indian guy. Oh, yes, I saw this over the weekend. He brought his Kirpan to the gym, and it's not like a modest Kirpan. It was like a big boy. The Indian guy who brought a dagger sword to the gym for his religious beliefs and got the employee fired for asking him to leave tells you where Canada is at. Run, Alberta, run far away.
Yeah. What is the rule exactly with those Kirpans, Sheila? Especially when, I don't know, you're boarding an airplane?
I don't know, but I do know that many jurisdictions in the world, they allow something like to be substituted instead of a Kirpan.
Yeah.
And I remember reading about that when the stabbing happened in the UK, where the UK police will take knitting needles off an old lady or gardening shears off an old lady working in her yard because could be used as a weapon, but allows just the biggest Kirpans ever to be out on the streets. And I know that Sikhs in other places of the world where they can't wear a Kirpan, they wear something else. And everybody just seems to get along fine.
Well, this is the thing. If it's only meant to be symbolic, if it was made out of rubber, say, then what's the problem? How come, I guess, Sheila, reasonable accommodation doesn't go the other way? That's what I'm asking.
Yeah. I don't know. Anyways, our new country's great. I just love it. Okay, we've got the cringe front. I'm just scrolling back up to it. Oh, where is it? Oh, cringe of the day. Xavier, I don't know how to say his name, and I don't care. How do you say this kid's name? I blame his parents. Xavier. Okay.
Yeah,
perfect.
like Professor Xavier of the X-Men.
It could be Javier. Ottawa artist. Artist. Okay. Xavier Trudeau showed off a funny little bottle service sign on his Instagram story during a night out at a Montreal club. The sign references his little carbon tax nickname that has circulated online in recent months. A nickname Xav has leaned into himself. Well, that's because your family is rich and you could afford to pay for your dad's stupid ideas. Xav has continued to build momentum with new music and a growing online following while showing he doesn't mind having a little fun with the nickname. This is just, you know what, kids are stupid. Kids are stupid. They don't have life experience. But when you're in a rich family and your dad's dating Katy Perry and you are just a Nepo baby, maybe don't rub it in people's faces that your dad taxed people out of their jobs.
You know, Sheila, from a marketing or public relations standpoint, I totally get the idea of owning a nickname that you didn't come up with, but this is a fail. Who looks, even people of that age, does anyone look fondly upon taxes? And he's going to own I'm Little Carbon Tax? I mean, what's his sidekick going to be called? Big Diesel Fuel Surcharge? I mean, this is ludicrous. And another thing, I will tell you this, and I might be wrong, Sheila, but you brought up Katy Perry. My spidey senses are telling me.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you're going to say.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
This romance is a fraud. I mean, and by the way, this is coming from someone.
I think it's convenient. Real convenient.
I think Katy Perry, at least when she's in full makeup and, not when she was at the World Economic Forum when I didn't recognize her, but she's an attractive lady. Having said that, I don't think Justin Trudeau gives a rodent's rectum. I think his eye on the prize is not marriage with Katy Perry, but getting context to senior record executives. So little carbon tax here finally gets a record deal, because I'll tell you, when I saw him performing at Shawarma Fest last week, I looked at the crowd, Sheila. What's the opposite word to electrifying? Because zombifying, because that's what was on their faces, okay?
Euthanized. Efron, there's a video out there, and I regret to say I watched it several times, of Justin Trudeau and Katy Perry walking hand in hand. Do you know the one I'm talking about?
You don't mean the one of Justin Trudeau hopping like a bunny behind her, right?
No, I saw that stupid one. Efron's going to find it for me. I watched it many, many times, and every time I watched it, I was repulsed more and more. Look at how he's walking. I don't know why I hate it so much. Like, why is he doing that rump shaking thing?
You know what? You're right.
Oh, it's making my skin crawl. Like,
what man walks that way?
Thank you. Oh God, it's like a full body.
No, but really,
right.
This is disturbing. What the hell's going on here, Sheila?
I don't know. Does he need hip surgery? Is one leg longer than the other? Why does he have such a hitch in his get-along, as my mom used to say? Why is he walking like that?
Like, that would be a great gait if Justin Trudeau was a hot chick.
If he were a burlesque, he's not a burlesque dancer. What are you doing? Anyway, I watched it so many times, and I just got worse and worse and worse every time I watched it. I've had enough, and I'm sorry, everybody. I should have given you a trigger warning. Ugh.
Sheila, good eye, because I don't know. Maybe he's taking hula dancing or something like that.
I don't know. It's like he walks like a belly dancer. Anyway.
Okay. Well, Sheila, on that note, Justin Trudeau's amazing buttocks, I guess we will wrap the show. And folks, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you to those who gave a super chat. Unlike the CBC, that's how we make our money. We don't involuntarily take it from you. So thank you for that. As Sheila alluded to,
I'm sorry for making everybody watch that video. I'm very sorry. I saw it. You must too. Now it will haunt you. I'm sorry.
Yes, Sheila is making the apology tour as soon as she gets off the air to anyone who had to see Trudeau's buttocks. And speaking of Sheila, she will be back tomorrow with the...
David, stop. We got one more chat.
Oh,
it came in. I don't know if it was prompted by Justin Trudeau's butt cheeks, but it just came in. And it's from New York Turtle 89. Gives us $5. Keep exposing the tyrants and don't give up. Well, we certainly will.
Yeah. Maybe that was in regard to Justin Trudeau's walk into the
Why is he like there's one more. Maybe it was worth exposing you all to that. Justin Trudeau doing the Dita Von Teese sort of fan dance thing. I don't know.
Oh, so Sheila, since you are a 100% heterosexual female, can you kindly explain to me, what does Katy Perry see in Justin Trudeau?
What did his wife see in him? What did 2015's influx of starry-eyed, starstruck female voters see in him? I don't know. We are totally compatible. I said earlier in the show, there's something wrong with my cohort of women in the rest of the country. Why? Why did the socks and the hair and the last name do it for them? It does. I don't know. Every time I watch it, I feel like my estrogen levels drop. Like watching Justin Trudeau, my bones are getting brittle from watching him. Anyways, I have to stop.
And now with that strut he's doing, let me give you a hypothetical question. Your beloved husband, we go back several years, you're in the dating phase, you're walking behind him and you see that kind of gait happening. Is the relationship over?
We'd turn around and I wouldn't have been there. I would just be in my car going somewhere else.
Unbelievable.
We got 2 more chats because of my discomfort with Justin Trudeau's strut. Can someone FOI the in-flight meal drink costs for the CFC one to go to the FIFA final and back? Sure can.
Oh, that's a great point. Thank you.
That would be greatly appreciated. Thank you. I'm just copying that image right now. That'd be greatly appreciated. It was only an hour flight for sure. That's from Cuba Bound 2049. And Alex Greer gives us 279, says, well said, Sheila, well said, David. Well, thank you. Let's wrap the show before we talk any more about Justin Trudeau's bizarre walk, please.
Okay, then. Well, folks, as I mentioned, tomorrow, Tuesday, that will be Sheila Gunn Reid and the lovely Lee Smurl. Always a hoot to watch those two in action. I think I'm back on Friday for the Rebel News live stream panel discussion. In the meantime, as always, stay safe and stay sane.